And look who is joining us. We are so excited. One
I'm
of our
waving.
favorite guests. Yes, he's waving. And boy, are we excited. The one and only Ellis Hall is joining us here. Ellis, of course, is a revered music legend, singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, actor, composer. And that's just only on Thursdays.
What you say?
He is amazing. And he is the ambassador of soul. Yes, he has been dubbed that by millions around the world. He has written over 4,000 and counting soul, gospel, blues, and pop songs, citing Ray Charles, of course, as his beloved mentor and inspiration. He has performed with Stevie Wonder, James Taylor, Natalie Cole, Patti LaBelle, Toby Keith, Herbie Hancock, George Benson, Bobby Womack, Sheila E, Maurice White of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Tower of Power, and Ray Charles. And Charles signed him to his record label, Crossover Records, and mentored him until Ray's passing in 2004. And our friend Ellis hails from the great city of Savannah, Georgia. And he is the son of Ellis Hall Sr. and Ivana Harris. And he is just a master of the music. He's got a lot of new music to share and celebrate. Hey, Ellis, welcome back to the Jim Masters Show.
Boy, that's a lot of words you just spit out right there, my dear bro.
Sure is. I tell you, you are not only multi-instrumentalist, you're a multi-talented and a multitasker.
Oh, you're something else. Look out.
I tell you, we're excited about all the new music and everything that's coming forth. There's a new single coming out and lots more. But let's go back a little bit. I don't think we've had an opportunity when we've chatted with you to go back a little bit to those days in Savannah, growing up, your family, the music. What were some of those early inspirations for you to even want to go into music? Were you surrounded by music as a child, Ellis?
Well, you know, it's so funny because my pops and mom, of course, sang in the church. And, you know, I was born in Savannah, and we lived, at least for the first 5 or 6 years, in a little town called Claxton. And if I haven't mentioned it, I'll say one side of the sign says entering, the other is leaving. So Claxton is really, really, really tiny. In fact, when I went back in like 2014, I told the mayor at that time, I said, you know what? Claxton's famous because it had one stoplight. He said, well, we've grown now. We got 3. So that being said, of course, listening to the gospel sounds of the church, but I wasn't serious about my music, Brother Jim, until at 14, I snuck into a club that my brother took me into. Had no business being there, but I saw the looks with my good eye. The look on the faces of the band as they were whipping the audience into shape. And my life was never the same since then. So I'd go home and actually I'd be supposed to be playing my piano lessons. Let's see, like something like this. But then I'd go, my teacher come in, Ellis Hall. Like I never changed gears.
Kicked it up a notch, huh?
Yeah, come on, brother. Rocking and rolling, hoochie cooing.
Yeah. So they noticed pretty early that there was something special that Ellis Hall was exuding, huh?
Well, my mom swears I came out of the womb dancing, singing, and whatever. And I said, ow, that must have hurt. But no, they knew. I didn't know. Really, I didn't think about it until my epiphany. But still, after all this time, Jim, I feel like I'm just getting started, sir.
You know, you really are, even though you've been doing this for such a long time. It's always a process, right? It's always an ongoing process. And when you decided to pick up an instrument,
yes, sir.
What was the very first instrument that came your way?
Okay. Well, they taught me piano lessons at first, but I wasn't really, really interested until I learned how to I didn't really learn. I kind of figured out how to play drums. And after I had my epiphany, I went home and took an old bongo set and added some bongos to it, made my own drum set till I could get a real one. And before the beatbox was invented, or maybe before they even thought about it, I'd be walking down the corridors of my high school or of my lower school, you know, like I had a drum set in my mouth. And that led me to playing my drums like I meant it. And then I took up bass. I learned bass fiddle and then bass guitar and taught myself guitar. And my mom would say, son, I know you got to practice, but do you have to make all that fuss? And then she came to a show, her and my pops, and she said, ooh, Lord, all that fuss was worth it.
It sure was, my friend. Yeah, when you're banging the pots and pans in the kitchen, it's a fuss. But when things are cooking, yeah, it's a whole other world.
And to expand upon that, my man, I don't know if you heard, well, you know about the bass, of course, but I had a wash tub bass. I took my mom's, she had an old bucket. I put a hole in the bucket. I put a string through it. And I took the straws off her broom and I made a wash tub bass.
That is cool. How creative is that, huh?
Yeah, I was hungry. We couldn't afford a bass guitar or anything. I was hungry to play that sound I heard in my head and play to all the tunes with that wash tub bass until I was able to get a friend. He gave me a bass guitar.
Wow. I was mentioning that Ray Charles, of course, was a great mentor and friend and sort of took you under his wing. Who else, when you were listening to music at the time as you were honing your craft, Ellis, who were some of the other artists and performers out there that you were being inspired by?
Well, I remember, let's see, my pops playing, that's the sound of the men working on the chain. Yeah. And I remember at the end, give me water, I'm thirsty, my. And I remember that line, that particular line made me cry. I don't know why. It just touched me and touched me the way he sang it. And I'd listened to, of course, Ray. The first thing I heard from Ray is that. Hallelujah, I just love her so. I heard that when I was about 8 years old, and it was like having church on the radio.
Wow. Yeah, that just spoke to you immediately, right?
Immediately. Well, and again, I listened to everyone from, of course, like what they were called the high-lows before they became the Singers Unlimited. I listened to everyone, all the, even Elvis, who wanted to take the black sound and bring it to the popular world, which he did, of course. Listen to Louis Jordan, Cowboy, all that stuff. It's like, woo!
Yeah, right, exactly. When you look back at it all, as again, you're honing your craft, you're getting your wings so you can fly. Yes. What would you say is probably one or two of those really pivotal key moments that opened the door for you, where people started to really notice Ellis's incredible talent and everything started rolling in a forward movement for you? Was there one or two key moments you look back at like, boy, if that hadn't happened, then the rest might not have happened?
One of them is when I really started honing my craft on the different instruments. I did a show in, I believe it's 1968, and our bass player, no, 67, our bass player didn't show up. So I had to play organ bass and play, of course, the organ. And then I also had to sing. And it was before 5,000 screaming people who, if you didn't touch their buttons and push their buttons in the right way, I'm sure they could throw a lot of things and they wouldn't miss. So I got them standing on the chairs and stuff. I already knew, but I knew what I was feeling in my heart was to touch them and bring them to that quote unquote higher ground. And I, again, as I mentioned earlier, listened to everything on the radio and could sing rock stuff, could sing, country, could sing jazz, could sing soul, and anything I did, just like I called him Papa Ray Charles, anything I did, do it like I mean it and not imitating, anyone, not doing what I guess Ray, the first thing Ray said to me is, "You ain't trying to be like nobody." And of course, he used a lot more expletives, but
Right.
it's a family show.
That is funny. But he really was somebody extra special in your life, huh? He recognized your talent.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you this funny story. Okay. When I signed to Ray, and Ray talked about me being his protege and stuff, George Benson said, "But I had him first." Because I, in 1972, a friend of mine took me to see George Benson, and I was going crazy and playing the different instruments. And George said, "Who are you?"
Mm-hmm. Yes, right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. And you've, formed and been a part of some really cool bands of note along the way too, right? That has been something that you've always enjoyed, sort of that collaborative effort, working with others, teamwork, bringing it all together, which I think is fantastic. And one of the great things that you've had an opportunity to do, which I think is amazing, which people may or may not know, is you sang at the funeral of Helen Keller at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York.
I did.
What was that experience like?
Well, let me tell you, that was a culmination of amazing love in my life, because when I was about 10 or 11 years old, this lady, I realized later she was deafblind. She was Miss Helen Keller, used to come up and give me a hug and feel my hair, which felt like lamb's wool. And she'd signal to her assistant and they'd be laughing like crazy. I didn't understand that at that time because she loved the feel of my hair. And then when she passed, I was so honored that I became part of the group that went to sing for her funeral. My God, Jim. Again, just like working at the Kennedy compound, working for Nelson Mandela, singing for him, one of the songs that's on the What Project called Why Should I Care? So I tell you folks to go listen to it, and how kismet it is now to lift up the Ukrainian spirit in us all. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Now more than ever,
now more than ever.
You just touched upon singing before Nelson Mandela in Johannesburg.
Yes.
Which is there. That's another one of those, pinch me moments. That must have been extraordinary.
Well, and not only that, but the song that I sang wasn't really out yet. I think I'd done a version of it, but it became one of his favorite tunes. He told me. It's like singing for Miss Oprah. I sang her a song I wrote called Sister Rosa about Miss Rosa Parks. When people recognize the tunes that have come to you, because I consider myself, Jim, the vessel. That's all I am, letting that flow, that spirit.
Yes, right.
Seriously. And I tell folks, I am no better or no worse than anyone. But what I am is that vessel. And the power will come through. If you fake in the groove, I will make you run off that stage.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. There isn't anybody that I know that, when they hear you perform, they're not moved. They're not shaking. They're not dancing. They're not feeling. You just put so much heart and soul. That's why they call you the ambassador of soul. But so much of yourself is planted in your performance and your music. And you don't want us to just hear the music and just, pass it by. You want us to feel, and you want us to really live it, and then sort of apply it to the rest of our lives, right?
I really do. And brother, I pray that you get to come see a concert, whether it be with Brother George, or whether it be with me, with my symphony or whatever, I'll make sure you're sitting in the front row and you don't even have to behave yourself.
I love that. Sold. Absolutely. We'll be there. We'll be waving and cheering and dancing.
Oh yeah.
You also a member of Oakland soul band Tower of Power, legendary band. How did that come your way to be a part of that, my friend?
Well, let me tell you, there were two bands I played and opened up for. One of them was Earth, Wind, and Fire. We did it 7 times. One of them was Tower of Power. Did that at least 7 or 8 times. Now, each time, the first time I played, just one person was there watching my band, the Ellis Hall Group. The second time, till the last time, the whole band was surrounding. That's a lot of folks surrounding the stage, looking at it, saying, "What is this intensity?" And then from that second time, Emilio, the leader, kept asking me to join the band. So, I wanted to finish the run of the Ellis Hall Group. Then in 1984, when I joined the band, the first thing Emilio asked is, "Where's that song, Rain?" And I had to think about it. I said, "Rain? What are you talking?" Oh, and I said, "Some days were meant for rain?" And he said, yes. He had heard the song in 1976 on a little cassette. And that's the first song, one of the first songs we recorded for the Power record. I don't know if you have that record, but I got 6 of the 19s on that record.
Yes.
And so, I mean, and what was really funny is, as I joined Tower of Power, we have that tune, "What is it? Tell me if you think you know." Well, after a while, I had to change it around and say, "Oh, my hip." So let me tell you something. The first time I did that, the horns almost dropped their horns, and the rhythm section was freaking out. They couldn't believe I said that.
That is amazing.
That was so much fun. But yes, working with them. I worked with them for, oh my God, almost 4 years. Just having great times.
Oh, yeah. Going back just a little bit for the audience, you began piano lessons in 3rd grade, caught the performing bug singing doo-wop by the corner store, where you would take the money you earned singing and buy chips and soda.
Oh, man, you got deep with that bio, brother. Come on, man. Come on. If I could get me some chips, and something, there goes my baby. Singing whenever I could sing.
He sings for his supper.
I would supper and for chips and soda.
That is so cool. Wow.
Yeah.
And then you got serious around 14, and you caught the performance B3 organ quartet, Quint Harris and the Preachers in Boston.
Guess who was the organist playing for that crew? I didn't know until later. It turned out to be the fabulous Mr. Bernie Worrell. He later was with the Parliament Funkadelic.
Yep.
I mean, Jim, he was a force to be reckoned with, playing bass pedals and stuff. And they were backing up a group called, dear friends of mine now, Chubbing the Turnpikes, who later became Tavares.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's
Heaven
right.
Must Be Missing an Angel and all those great songs. I love that song. Whenever you hear that song, you just feel good. Takes you back.
I'm telling you. And to know, at the time that they were playing, I think they had a song called I Know the Inside Story, and they were killing it. But I'm telling you, Quint Harris and the Preacher, they were killing me, man. Drums, organ, and sax.
Speaking of drums, which is something else really cool, after the Boston show, you built your own drum kit so you could start playing drums, and you added the bass as part of the practice lineup. And you would practice all of the instruments in the dark, so you would always be able to play them with or without vision. For anybody watching, that is part of the equation as well. And there's a quote that you said that I think is beautiful. When people ask about your blindness, you tell them, I didn't pay the electric bill on time, so they cut the lights out on me.
People know that I'm crazy. And they also know, knowing my spirit, the only party I avoid, Brother Jim, is the pity party. Don't want to have anything to do with
Best
that.
way to do it. Exactly.
Yes.
Well, you can't. You know why? How could you be a part of a pity party and at the same time be the lead voice for the animated California Raisins?
Come on, brother. You better hear
That's
it.
him.
Grapevine. And I was Fozzie Bear's uncle, who is Uncle Grizzly. Fozzie Bear, of course, from Sesame Street, working with them. It was amazing. Mr. Jim Henson. I got to talk to him, but I never got to meet him over in person. God bless him. But, to keep that forward motion going, just like in the movie Chicken Run, when the chickens are dancing, I'm a singing rooster.
Exactly. As I mentioned, having written well over 4,000 soul, gospel, blues, and pop songs, and you performed with some of those greats: Stevie Wonder, James Taylor, Herbie Hancock, George Benson, even Kenny G.
That's right.
Kenny G's we saw his Christmas concert last year when he was on tour. Wow. And boy, he's still going strong.
Still working.
Unbelievable. George Duke you worked with as well, and many, many, many more. And for the audience watching, if they're not aware, our gifted friend here, Ellis Hall, has also written and performed on many film soundtracks, including The Lion King 2, Shrek 2, Invincible, and Bruce Almighty. And he also sang a Louis Armstrong song, the tune, in the Steven Spielberg film, Catch Me If You Can. The film soundtracks, writing and performing those, when people hear film music, it really gets into their heart, and you just feel something forever when you hear these iconic songs. How did you get into the film soundtrack world? And is that something you really love doing, Ellis?
Well, you know what? It's like they will call me, and if I have a manager, they'll call her or him. And now my manager is Leala J. But they will ask me. One of the tunes I worked on was a movie for Dennis Quaid called Beneath the Darkness. And I wrote a tune. Let's see, go, sorry. Love sick, I'm sick with this. From mental allegation to physical alteration, I'm love sick. And I remember when I came up with the lyric, I said, even the director said, you wrote my movie in a song. But I love the challenge because it just, becoming the soundtrack of someone's life, you can't just say that without really meaning it. Mm-hmm. And like in Big Mama's House, I sang "Oh Happy Day" along with Martin himself. In the movie Invincible, I wrote a song called "What Is Real," and they heard the song and just put it right in the movie. I'm so honored.
That's incredible, huh?
Yeah.
You obviously, you feel it. You capture what they are trying to say in the movie, and you do it with music, which I think is so powerful. It's as powerful, sometimes even more powerful than the dialogue. People are left with, it's really amazing. And when they blend together, it's cinematic magic, isn't it?
It is. And I want to tell you, my mom, before I got into the music scene, really, she used to tell me, she'd say, son, I know your sight is fading, but if you listen 9 times out of 10, the music will tell you what's on the screen, or at least give you a quick synopsis of it. And I thought still to this day, that was some of the best advice. And she used to always say a loving phrase. If she didn't think I was paying attention, she said, put your ears on.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I did too. And what's really freaky about that, I've done a lot of commercials over the years, Budweiser,
Yes.
everything, McDonald's. But there was a company called Tech Hi-Fi. I don't know if they made it out west, but they were big time back east. And I wrote
Yeah.
the thing, listen to what your money can buy at Tech Hi-Fi. And
Oh,
then
yeah. That was you? Really?
and I opened it up and I said, put your ears on. And that read for like 3 or 4 years.
Yes, right. Well, we're
Yeah.
here in the New York area, so I remember that,
Oh,
you
big
know.
time. It was huge, but I
Yes,
didn't
we're
know it
East
was so big.
Coast. East Coast here, New York area. Absolutely.
Until my
Wow, I used
friend,
to remember that. We used to sing that. Remember that back then people would sing the jingles and sing the things that they heard on TV and commercials. And so did you mention McDonald's too?
McDonald's too, yeah. It's like, having had your break today, fun on a bun is coming your way. Save a little money, put a smile in your tummy. McDonald's is your place today.
Wow, I'm craving a Big Mac now.
Come on now. Come on. That and also Budweiser. I don't drink beer,
Yeah.
but I sang a lot of, beer commercials.
Do you know that I was trying to think the last time we chatted,
Yes, sir.
the spirit that you have, the humor, the wit, the energy, the passion for life, all of it.
Yes,
There's
sir.
somebody else who as soon as I say his name, you're going to be like, oh yeah, who I think also has a similar joy of
Yeah.
music, joy of life,
Yes.
joy of giving.
Yes.
And like you, he is a master of his craft, and that's John Batiste.
Oh, you know what?
He reminds me of you, the energy, the humor, the two of you could be brothers. You just remind me of each other, the joy and the passion and the love that you share and the quick wit, John Batiste.
You know what? There are friends who are trying to introduce me to him because we do have that thing. I love his spirit. I love his music. And, I was honored that he got to sing at this year's Super Bowl opening up. I think he did, was it America?
Yes.
He did something, but he was brilliant. And so eventually folks will.
Oh my God, the two of you together? Holy cow, the roof would blow off.
Oh, we're going crazy. If we don't play double piano, I'll grab a guitar and just chicken pick underneath him.
Speaking of things you played, you also played football and competed in wrestling too when you were younger.
I did, and that's how I lost my vision. Yeah.
Was in sports.
Yes.
But then you eventually mastered the drums, piano, keyboards, guitar, upright and electric bass, and you were able to develop and define yourself as a vocalist, possessing a 5-octave range.
What you say?
I think that was 5.5.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like squeak, squawk, like you mean it.
In 71, you played bass and sang background vocals on the single The River, Adorable One, and Woke Up This Morning.
Wow.
And you had your first release as a solo artist of the version of the Motown song from the 60s, Every Little Bit Hurts.
That's right.
And then
and how ironic on the B side, Back It Up and Try It Again. And people would turn the record over and play that in the clubs, etc.
Wow. Sometimes the B-sides of, records were fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember, I forget what the A side was, but there was a record that my mother had, a 45, and it was a popular song, but I remember flipping it over and listening to it, and it was a lesser known song, but you can still hear it. And it was Swinging Spiritual. Do 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 do. Really cool song, and it was instrumental with just the do 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 do, and it just grabbed me because it felt there was a lot of love and vibe and rhythm in it, and it just grabbed me. And it was the B side. It's just
and that's what happens. People turning records over, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what a new adventure. Well, I'll tell you this. The gentleman who produced my first single, Every Little Bit Hurts and Back It Up, was a gentleman who founded with his sister Stax Records. Are you familiar with Stax Records?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was Stewart and his sister, I forgot her name, something, but it was AX. So STAX. So Jim Stewart, I'm telling you, he was a force of nature. A white gentleman with so much soul. You could feel the cornbread, chicken, and dressing as he talked. He was so gentle, and when he got excited, he still stayed gentle, but that spirit, and he knew when I finished each song, because we were trying to figure out what song we'd want to do together. So I was sitting with my old Casio, and I started singing, let's see. Every little bit hurts. And he stopped me with those first two chords. And we went in the studio and did it. And then I wrote the other tune that next day. I wrote it in like 15 minutes. Back it up.
Wow, that's so cool. That's amazing.
I love just doing what I do. And you know.
You do. Matter of fact, you starred in your very first stage role in the gospel Colanis, in which you sang, acted, walked the stage, and stair props, mostly unattended. And that was cool, wasn't it, to be a part of that?
Well, it went from 5 blind guys from Alabama in the original gospel at Colonis to 1 blind guy from Georgia.
It's funny how that works, right?
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, Stevie, it's a good thing it's 1 blind guy, because Stevie always said 2 or more blind guys in a room is illegal. Y'all go into jail. What?
You also penned the official song of the city where you grew up, Claxton, Georgia.
I did.
Penned the official song.
Oh, man. I have to get you a copy of that.
That's quite an honor to be asked to do that, huh?
No, let me tell you, I didn't think about that, but I knew as I was working on the record, I say, I got to do something that celebrates my original hometown. So I came up with Claxton, my Georgia state of mind. And I decided to take all the instruments away and just do it, as my buddy used to say, Acapulco, but really it's a cappella.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing, too. You mentioned that first gig opening for Earth, Wind, and Fire on the Boston stop of their 1974 tour. Then you go on to perform for Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis at the Kennedy compound.
Yes, and to see Rose Kennedy dancing around, what Prince described to me later, and Jacqueline, excuse me, Miss Kennedy Onassis, gave us an amazing compliment. She said, your group is unbelievably tight. And to have that come out of that lady's mouth was, I'm paraphrasing, because she used other words too. It's like, even my manager said, whoa, we must have really touched her.
You must have really, exactly, with her white gloves and pillbox hat. Exactly.
Oh, no.
Yes. And Harvard University opening up for the Temptations, the Spinners, Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the Spinners, my brother, their bass player was missing because we were opening up the show. And they asked my bass player, I believe this was a 75 or 76. They asked my bass player to play. And my bass player said, well, I don't know your tunes, but Ellis does. And he said, well, he plays keyboards. We don't need another keyboardist. And my buddy Freddie says, you don't understand. He can play any tune you got and then some on bass, etc. So they tried me out. And I'm telling you, Jim, they almost missed their steps watching me play stuff like It's a Shame, I'll Be Around, and doing things that the record didn't do.
Wow.
And one of my favorite tunes by them was It's a Shame, because it was so funky you could hurt yourself.
Yes, exactly. Wow. Tell us about the formation of the Ellis Hall Group.
The Ellis Hall Group. I started out with a dear friend of mine, Buddy Baptista, great drummer. And then I added a bass player, and myself. The three of us would go and audition. Then I eventually added guitar, Michael Thompson, bass player Tony Vaughn rather, and we had all these people. And then I added two girls, and so we had eventually 7 vocals. So we had a lot of folks who could do vocals and sing lead and sing backgrounds. We had hopefully a harmony lesson for all these young kids who wanted to put vocals together and put the funk together. And at some point, I had to get you some of that stuff so you could hear it just for fun.
That would be awesome to have an opportunity to do that.
Come on.
What was it like working with everybody in the group?
Oh, God, it may sound cliche-ish. Every day was like Christmas because we always did our best, even if we played a cover tune. I'll tell you an example. We got to open up for the Temptations, and what do? We took Stevie's Interventions record. We did one side of the record closing with Living for the City, and they gave us a 5 to 10 minute standing ovation. Wow. We did it right from the beginning. Everything, vocals and everything.
That's incredible. Yeah.
It felt right. I knew it felt right. And I didn't have a harmonica, so I played the harmonica on the synthesizer.
That's ingenious. That's right. Yeah. The Moog synthesizers coming out too during that time, being used for so many things. Did you stay in touch with the members of the Ellis Hall Group over the years as well?
I have. I still talk to my percussionist. I still talk to the drummer Dave Fuller. I talk to the guys there every great once in a while. My original bass player, Freddie Mueller, or one of the bass players, and he later became Sound Man Supreme, including working with Take 6, etc. He did a lot of things. So we still talk and say hey and just keep up.
Which is so cool. It's great when you get a chance to do that.
Yeah, because we never split on a bad note at all. That's not what I'm about.
No, you're not at all. Did you enjoy the years of being a session musician, being a part of so many different things, like you say, commercials and, California Raisins and so many other different things? Do you like that work as a session musician?
I love that. And, when they let me put songs together, and Clay Cross, who's a great gospel artist himself, he did one of my songs. I have been searching such a long, long time. I have been missing something in my life. Lonely and lost till you pulled me through. I found myself.
That is really beautiful stuff, my friend. Really beautiful.
Wrote that with a dear friend of mine, Jed Friedman, who wrote I Want to Run to You for Whitney. So needless to say, fabulous songwriter. And when we finished the demo, we had sent it over to, I don't know if you remember the soap opera, Santa Barbara.
Sure, yeah, NBC.
Yeah, it didn't have a long run, but they took that original and put it in that show. And I said, oh my God, I didn't know that could happen. And then, of course, Clay Cross heard it, and the rest is history, too.
It just blows up from there, right? It's incredible. It was 2001 when Don Griffin introduced you to Ray Charles at the West LA Music Annual Christmas Party, where you were performing, and Ray Charles was the guest, and he was impressed when he heard you singing, I Can See Clearly Now.
He did? Wow. How kismet is that? And it's so funny, because Don Griffin, he owned the store, but it was actually Rick Waite who introduced me. Because Rick knew Ray, because that's how Rick rolled. He knew all the people, and they would come to him for the
roll together.
Yeah. So me and my assistant practically broke our necks trying to dive off the stage, and I grabbed a CD out of my bag, and I gave it to Ray. He gave me big hugs. He called me the next day. Who the f are you? Why did some of my friends tell me about you? I want to sign you up. Get over here.
Get over here.
Really? That's a Georgia-ism.
Yeah, exactly. Get over here.
Get over here.
And he signs you,
Yes.
which is so cool. And we're actually showing a picture right now of that moment where he's signing you, which I think is so cool and a very precious moment. He signed you to his Crossover Records label in 2002.
You've done your work, brother.
Yeah, and you were the only artist that signed to his label, as well as co-produced the first album.
I did, yes.
Very special moment, huh? There he is, everybody, with the one and only Ray Charles, and they're signing.
And later, you see Jamie Foxx on the set of Ray, he and I cutting up.
Oh, yes, that's right, because you had that affiliation because October 2003, you played the Kennedy Center at Ray Charles' request, and then just prior to the release of Straight Ahead, Ray had passed. And during the filming of the Taylor Hackford film, Ray starring Jamie Foxx, you were the on-set advisor too.
I was. Yes, I was. Yeah. And one of the funniest things is Jamie told me, he said, I had my prosthetics in, so I couldn't see anything. And those jokers left me. Where'd everybody go? I said, welcome to my world.
Welcome to my world. You're featured on 3 songs on the Bootsy Collins release of The Power of One, of which Wishing Well was written by you and Michael Sembello. Also featured on the remake of Steve Winwood's hit Roll With It with from Jermaine Lockhart. Also released on George Benson's new label venture at the end of 2020. You were honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award for your work in music, film, and television, which is so beautiful, at the Peachtree Village International Film Festival back home in Georgia in Atlanta. And in just before Valentine's Day in 2021, you released a remake of Let Me Call You Sweetheart featuring Tata Vega. How cool is that, huh?
And we're getting ready to go to France with that. I don't think Tata will make it with us, but we're going with Dennis Dries.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, going to France. And then later with my band again, going to Indonesia.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is amazing. You also, and this was really on Ray Charles' advice, you began to focus on the symphony show circuit after completing the album. Tell us about that and working with the symphony.
You know, Ray said to me, boy, you should be doing symphonies. And like I told him, Papa Ray, I don't know how to do that. Literally, this is like out of a freaking one of those Italian movies. He picked up the phone, made 2 phone calls, and the rest is history. Literally, I went, I did, of course, Boston Pops, which I'm dear friends with Dennis Ellis. Thank you, Lord. I've done Colorado Springs. I've done Seattle. I've done Omaha. And I'm getting ready to do the New York Phil. I don't have a date on it yet. And they Hollywood Bowl said they want me to do something. So all these things, I've even done Hawaii Symphony. And the funniest thing, Jim, the first night we got there, because we did, I think, like 4 days, hardly anybody was there. The next night, Jim, it was sold. The next 3 nights sold out. You could not get in. So that's how the word of mouth goes around.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And to have all of these symphonies that want you with them is amazing and quite a honor too, huh?
Oh, just like in, I think we did Huntsville, Alabama, the symphony, and they got me a 1957 B3 to play. It's unbelievable. And playing, for instance, playing Pittsburgh with the famous Marvin Hamlish. And he got so excited. There was a lady, an elderly lady in the audience who got so excited she got out the chair. He invited her back. We did 4 nights. He invited her back each night, and she'd be running up and down the aisles, dancing. It got everybody else dancing. It was like out of a freaking movie.
That is, yeah. We miss him, Marvin Hamlish. Huh? What a
Yes, we
gifted
do.
soul he was.
Great spirit.
Oh, so many. So the way we were. I mean, the amount of
Woo!
songs that he left, the body of work he left for all of us.
Sunshine and lollipops. Woo!
I got a chance to co-host a Great Performances national PBS special, and Adina Menzel was starring in it with Marvin Hamlish, and it was Barefoot at the Symphony, and it was a
Ooh.
PBS special that they did together,
Wow.
and it was beautiful, and just the response to Marvin and Adina was really incredible to see. You know, such.
Well, you have that announcer voice, sir.
Why, thank you, Mr. Ellis Hall. Coming up, Ellis Hall next on stage. Yes, performing his first symphony at the Hollywood Bowl in 2005 in commemoration for the 75th birthday of Ray Charles.
It was fun. And Billy Preston was there. It was one of the last performances. What a joy it was to hang with him. And I think at that time they also had Diane Shore there. So that reminds me of a story with Stevie, Diane Shore, and myself. Stevie invited us up on his house full of toys, and we're singing 20,000 people grooving. And what does Stevie do in his inimitable style? He stops the show and he says, I've got something heavy on my mind. We got to do something. So what do we do on site, Jim? We break into a version of Three Blind Mice. It was freaking hilarious.
How cool.
Yeah, no, picture it.
Who led the way? Who led the way to do that? Was it you? Was it Stevie?
Yeah, he started it and we joined in, and in 3-part harmony, we just went crazy.
So and another great sense of humor he has too, right?
Woo! Well, he's May 13, I'm May 10, so there's a lot of bull going around.
Oh, Taurus? Yeah.
Yes, Lord.
Wow, that's incredible. You know, like you mentioned, the Boston Pops, the Pittsburgh Symphony, Marvin Hamlish, Los Angeles Philharmonic Association, and so much more. And you debuted the event, the concept show, Beyond Ellis Hall, Soul Unlimited, where you adapted songs from David Bowie's Let's Dance to Something by George Harrison, featuring Billy Preston on organ. And then also Ray, Motown and Beyond, and Soul Unlimited that you co-produced with wife and manager as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Wife and manager.
Come on.
Wow. Layla Jimenez Hall.
Amen. Come on.
That's fantastic.
We keep this.
How did you guys meet? Was it on the legendary Rhythm and Blues cruise?
No. Check this out. Yes, it was. And I was the musical director for Bobby Womack, great artist. And she was the manager for the famous blues artist, Bobby Blue Bland. And we never hooked up or anything. We just hung out and, she introduced herself as Layala. And then about 2 years later, that was in 2011, 2013, I called her up. I had been dating a lady. It didn't work out. As I said, I stayed a bachelor for a long time after Karen had passed. So I called her and I said, hey, this is Ellis. And, I'm not seeing anyone, so I hope you don't think this the wrong way. And she said, well, who gives a whoo? So it put me right in my place. No. I wasn't coming from that way, but I wanted to tell you just so you didn't think I was some sidewinder. So, and in the next month, I kind of wooed her, and because I felt she was the one. And my late wife, Karen, was very empathic, and she said, I'm sending you someone. And it wasn't until I met Layala that I knew what she meant. So then the rest is history. Amen.
What a beautiful story, truly, my friend. Yes. And of course, you are the stepfather of Christina Ariel as well.
Woo-hoo, Christina Ariel. She is, talk about a force of nature. And her sister Danielle is too, but, and then that combined with my 4 kids, it's a Min and Brady bunch.
I was going to say, right? That is funny. So many great things that, again, that you've had an opportunity to be a part of in 2020. One of the featured voices for One World on the charity single One World. The song reunited songwriters 30 years after they met in Moscow during the 1989 Glasnost event. Music speaks louder than words. How that's something special to be a part of that, huh?
And let me tell you, we got to perform it with some special kids in Las Vegas. I'm telling you, Jim, when a song gets a hold of you, or you get a hold of a song, but I really think it's the song getting a hold of you, you have no choice if you leave your heart open and the spirit open, and you as the vessel absorbing it, and Miss Pamela Phillips Holland, and the other gentleman who co-wrote it, his name escapes me right now, but amazing, amazing, amazing writers.
Mr. Ellis is also an actor or two. He's been in The Right of the People and Cop Rock, Adventures from the Book of Virtues, and also the wedding singer in The Wonder Years.
Oh my God. You know, when they approached me, I came in to sing, and the producers on the spot said it was supposed to be written for a bad wedding singer. There's no way we could ever present him like that. So they changed the whole script for me.
Wow.
Yeah, Wonder Years. And it still gets played.
It's still, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Then, of course, there's this wonderful collaboration. Mm-hmm. You've been doing this work for over half a century, seeing and hearing music in color for over half a century. I love that.
Yeah.
The wonderful relationship with George Whitty and the music that you guys are presenting. Tell us about how that collaboration developed.
It started out with a tune that Alex Brother had said, we want you to do something. His name is Guy. Want you to do something for Ukraine. So George had heard a song from this guy. How about this, her name? Slava Parkachuk. And he had written a song, but George rearranged the how the music should be. And I said, the lyric, because it was translated for me. So the lyric is good, but it has to be fiery. So I rearranged and rewrote the lyric. And, you know, the rest is history. Then after we finished that song, we said, it's too good of a collaboration that we quit now. Because George had seen me with Tower of Power back in the late 80s, and he said I literally knocked him on the floor. He could not get back up, me and the band. So once we got together, we started doing, like I said, one of the first songs, Some Days Were Meant for Rain. The first song that we co-wrote together, a tune called Own Up, which is so funky, it will rearrange your esophagus, and then the ballads will put it back in place. That's an image for you.
That's a song that really moves you.
Hey, now come on.
Mind, body, and spirit.
And
that is
spirit. But yeah, we knew we had to get together, and then we finished, and then closed it with the old Stax song, I Thank You. Yeah. So I don't know if you have the whole record yet, but you'll get it if you don't.
And also Die Living, another one that people have really, they've responded so incredible to, right?
Yeah, it's still, even it's the first single, still climbing the charts like crazy. And they said it's headed for #1 through God's grace.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's a great song. And there's, of course, In the World.
Oh, yeah. What in the world? Perfect, huh?
It really is. For people that are watching and don't know for the first time, how did the name What with the 4 exclamation points come together? The name.
I came up with it, and I suggested it to George and my buddy Alec and the people, our investor and stuff. I said, yes, Whitty Hall Artist Team. You have Guess Who, you have the Who, now you have What.
I love that.
And it's with 4 exclamation points.
Right, exactly. It's just offering more incredible proof that a great song really can enjoy many lives and enthrall multiple generations, because that timeless, haunting ballad, Some Days Were Meant for Rain, the
Yes,
second single from In the
yes,
World, that
yes.
Debut album.
Can I
Incredible,
tell
huh?
you the story behind that?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, I was sitting around playing my guitar, and then my manager called, and he sounded very despondent. I said, Brother Don, I said, what's going on? So he talked about his dear love, Terry, and they had broken up. I mean, I hadn't heard him like this. So I said, it's going to be okay, my brother. It's going to be okay. But I said to him, Don, I have to leave you because I have to put something together just for you and her. So I literally sat down, played my guitar, that lick I was playing. I put it on cassette with the lyric of the song. He played it. He cried. He played it for her, and she cried, and they cried together, and they stayed together 35 years.
How beautiful is that, Ellis, huh?
Yeah, you talk about song, the power of song,
The
bro.
power of song, the power of music really
And
is.
and Emilio asking about that song later to put it on the Tower record.
It's really incredible. And George himself, who's been a guest on our show, Grammy-winning keyboardist,
Yes,
literally, been doing this for a long time, and a
yes,
great
yeah,
guy as well. And the track following fast on the heels of the release of the powerhouse eclectic 10-track collection,
yeah.
Die Living, that lead single, and that became, again, something really, really so well received. Um, there's something else I know that you've been working on so many incredible things, and I know you're very excited about. You and I
Yes,
were chatting before we went on the air
yes.
about this one too, which is Some Days Were Meant for Rain. Tell us about this one.
Well, again, having written the song, I knew. And when I used to, before I started playing, I used to walk down the street in Georgia visiting and listen to people playing guitar on their porch. And just, it would seep into my soul. There's no way I could let that kind of music go. And once I finished Some Days Were Meant for Rain, just those simple chords. When you hear those chords, some days were meant for rain, some nights were meant for pain, and I'm caught up in your chains. When you hear that color, it just hopefully touches you, playing on guitar or piano.
That was beautiful. What a tease you are.
Come on, bro.
That was that's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And just when you think about the title, it is so true. Some days were meant for rain.
That's
Some
right.
of the favorite days are when it's raining. Good time to
Well,
just sort of
and it's not
relax.
supposed to be something that drowns you in sadness. It's supposed to be
Right.
a song that raises you up in hope. There are sad times, but always they will pass.
And you learn from them. You grow from those sad times,
Yes,
right? The
yes.
losses, the failures. Some of the most successful people on the planet have failed a million times before they hit with that one big thing. Just don't stop trying. Don't stop believing in yourself, and take that and inspire others with the gifts you have, right? Like you've done and continue to do.
Hey, brother, can I pause this for a second?
Yes,
Okay, let me go use the restroom, and I'll be right back.
absolutely. Yes.
I'll be right back.
Absolutely. We get to see the instruments and we get to see the chair. We always love seeing the chair.
I'll be right
And
back.
oh, absolutely. Yes. You go get a drink of water too. I want to just show a couple of great photos while Ellis is gathering. This is that great shot when Ray Charles was signing Ellis Hall for the first time. It's the only one he ever signed. We've been talking just recently, a couple of seconds ago, with our gifted guest, the one and only music legend, Ellis Hall, about the song Die Living with George Whitty, Grammy-winning keyboardist, and also In the World. This is all more recent music. There you are. More recent music. And also Some Dies Were Meant for Rain, which is what he was just playing. And we have some more things coming up that he's going to share with us as well. Here's some earlier shots of Ellis back in the day. And this is a great one. We showed this one earlier. If you ever get a chance to see Ellis solo or with the symphony or with, anybody, get tickets and go. He puts on an extraordinary show. You're getting a little sampling, of his energy and his passion and his thrill and his thirst for life and living here on the Jim Masters Show. However, you got to check him out when he's in concert. It's unbelievable. He lights up the stage. He lights up your heart and your mind and your soul. And he's been doing this for decades, and still sells out everywhere he goes. All the symphonies want him to work with them. If you're watching for the first time, everybody, we would love it if you give this episode a thumbs up like on our YouTube channel. Drop a comment below on the YouTube channel as well. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. And when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, be sure and click that notification bell as well, so you're notified about all these great celebrity friends and guests who stop by, and you never miss an episode. You have an opportunity to interact with us and with our guests as well. In addition to some of the things we've been talking about with Ellis's extraordinary career, and he's still performing today, some of the movies too that he's been a part of, which is incredible. Tower of Power, of course, that we knew. Vocal credits, that's the group. But the movies, Perfect, soundtracked. Also Arthur 2 on the Rocks, Highlander 2, The Lion King 2, Big Mama's House, Chicken Run, Catch Me If You Can, Bruce Almighty, A Day Without a Mexican, Crooked, Invincible, Beneath the Darkness, 2035. There was an actor in that as well. Yeah, it's incredible. Hey, just talking about your illustrious career and some of the other things that you've done as well. Did you want to, while you're there, and
Yes.
our audience, I know, would love to play anything for us? You've been sprinkling in little teasers, which we absolutely love. Anything that you wanted to?
Yep. Okay. How about this? Again, this is a song that I sang a little bit of it, but this is a song that really, really, really introduced me to Ray. How about that, huh?
Absolutely.
Something like this. Yeah. That's it. Let me tell you about a girl, no. She is my baby and she lives next door. Every morning before the sun comes up, bring me coffee and my favorite red cups. Wando, hallelujah, love us so. Wait a minute. When I'm feeling down, I need a friend. Just take me until the end. Everybody, that's why I know. That's why they tell the culture told me so. That's why I know, hallelujah, love us so. When I call on the telephone, I tell her that I'm all alone. By the time coming with the phone, I hear, oh my God, get it with that sucker, daddy, ain't now so stairs on the ride. Tell me, hold tight, tell me everything's alright. Those diminished chords will get you every time. Or demented. Well, I know, hallelujah, love us so. Hallelujah, just love us so. Hallelujah. I hit that in the high note. Hallelujah, just love. How you spell that? Love her soul.
That is amazing, Ellis. I think the glass window behind the shade near you there shattered. And there are lots of cats circling the building. You hit that high note. Really, I tell you, you know what it is? You sing with such joy and such passion. It's just like you said, you're a conduit, you're an energy force. The force, you're absorbing it and it's flowing through you and it's coming out in such a glorious way, Ellis, huh?
God bless you, sir. I know, again, I never take it for granted how blessed I am to do this, just like you do what you do, sir.
Yeah.
And, well, us being the conduits, especially if you can spell that word, woo, look out.
Conduit, exactly. You've done everything and continued to, and you inspire and motivate and empower along the way, which is so important. What are some things that you haven't done in this world, Ellis Hall, that you still would love to do?
That's a good question. I've done so much, but I always feel like I'm just getting started. And I want to collaborate with some of these younger kids, like the fabulous Bruno Mars, like Lady Gaga, like he's done with this new record. Just finding a way to complete the circle of raising these kids higher. And as I raise them higher, I know they raise me higher because it goes back and forth. That synergism, synergy as it is, woo.
It's all about that synergy, right?
Yes, sir.
What are some of those continued blessings and joys in your life that keep that river of love flowing through you, Ellis?
Well, besides the amazing love of my wife/manager, keeping the forward motion going through all that life has to present, and us getting ready to do like this show in France. I've traveled a lot with Tower of Power. I've traveled with other people, but under my own steam, going to these places and bringing the soul and hopefully inspire some kids to want those who want to play, inspire them to go higher and not quit, and funkify and soulify like they mean it.
I like that. Funkify and soulify.
That's right.
That is cool. So we got conduit, we got funkify, soulify. Kids, this is an episode of Sesame Street, and today's words are conduit, funkify, and soulify, as presented by our special guest, the ambassador of soul, Ellis Hall.
I love it. Oh, you're so you. I love it.
You're enjoying the ride, aren't you? You're enjoying the ride.
I am every single day. And as you know, my mom used to say, and others who've crossed my path, if it ain't fun, don't do it. But be serious about your having fun. Seriously, be serious about your bringing the joy, which is even more intense than fun. Fun only lasts a while, but the joy is everlasting if you let it continue to guide your life.
Exactly right, my friend. And you are so joyful, and you have been, and your music continues to touch us. And tour, you mentioned France, but anything, in America that we can go see? Anything
You know what? We're working on that now. We're going to make huge announcements. Oh, and I want to tell you, I mentioned it off air, Miss Betty White.
Yes, Betty White.
We're about to do a thing. She's getting a stamp, thank God. And I believe it's at the end of the month. And I'll be the singing voice of record. They want me to do a couple of songs for her.
How special is that? You've always admired Betty White, huh?
Always. What a joy and loving spirit she is. And irascible in a loving way as can be.
I love your laugh. Your laugh is infectious, my friend. It is.
You know,
It's so
and I
genuine.
don't know, did you ever see her thing off your rocker?
Yes,
Oh, she was hilarious. Oh my God.
she was
It
amazing.
showed her sense of humor. Obviously, it showed it in, when she was, I think, Suzanne Nimitz or whatever her last name was.
Oh, when she was on the Mary Tyler Moore Show,
Right.
and then the Golden Girls. Yeah.
Then, of course, the Golden Girls. And, my God, she's been through so many changes of life.
Yes, married for years to Alan Ludden, the host
Oh,
of
man.
Password, the game show
Yes.
host. And then
Yes.
when he passed in the early 80s, she never remarried. She always
Nope.
held the torch and the candle
Yeah.
for Alan.
That's right.
For Alan. I want to let folks know there is a website. It's ellishall.com. It is filled
Yeah.
with all kinds of incredible materials. There's a gallery of photos over the years you can peruse, great announcements about new music and keeping up with this. Well, I don't know if you can keep up with Ellis. He's always spark. He's
Just
always
getting
going.
started,
So
bro.
you
Hold
can
on.
try to keep up with Ellis. He'll take you along for the he'll captain it, but he'll take you along for the ride. That's
Yeah.
what he does. You
Spoken
are
like an announcer.
right. And a friend. You are truly amazing. And I'm so glad that you wanted to come back on the Jim Masters show. And like we call it Levity Hall, love and levity together, because you are the master of that as well, my friend. And thanks for all of the years of extraordinary art that you have shared with us in the many ways, shapes, and forms, from stage to music, film, television, all of it. And, using music as that force that brings it all together. Truly, absolutely a blessing. And I don't want to keep you too much longer. You and I could put a pot of coffee on and talk
I'm telling
you know what I mean?
We'll get there in person sometime. And
Yeah, would be
have a love
fantastic.
fest. But spread the word for the show, Betty White. You'll see it. And let me know. But let's keep in touch, for I appreciate you more than you could ever know. You and your family. Blessings.
You are the best, Ellis. Thank you and everybody there. We appreciate it. And you're placed on this earth for beautiful reasons. And we're so glad to be here on the planet at the same time Ellis Hall is, because you enrich us in so many incredible and profound ways, Ellis. And I know you enjoy it all. I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you,
Come on,
sir.
brother. Don't make me point that finger of love at you. And to let you know, I even clean my glasses. I can see clearly now.
He cleans his glasses just for us.
That's right.
He is a star. He's a class act. Ellis, you are the best. You be well. Come see us again. As I said, the porch light is always on for you.
Thank you, Brother Jim.
And I wanted to schedule it, and I knew it was a time where you didn't have to rush off to stage, because you're always so busy, and they bring that cane and they pull you along because you got to get on stage and make that magic. So thanks for your generosity of time with us today, my friend.
Yes, sir. God bless you.
You be well. You take care, okay?
Take care, sir.
Keep making that magic.
I say.
Portions recorded.
Thank you, brother.
Love you, my friend. You take care.
We talk. God bless.
Bye-bye now. Ellis Hall, the one and only, here on the Jim Masters Show. It's his return visit, actually. He was with us with George Whitty when they were talking about their music and the musical journey together with Die Living, and, of course, In the World, and Some Days Were Meant for Rain. Ellis has been doing this for decades. He is truly an American treasure. He's a music legend, a multi-instrumentalist, dubbed the ambassador of soul. You can see why. Singer, songwriter, composer, actor, truly a music legend. And such an honor and a blessing to have him here for all of us. He got a chance to tell his stories and sing and play for us as well. There he is again with with his mentor, Ray Charles. Decades of music, all the way back to the days of Georgia, and his family influence, his very supportive family, his loving parents. And there's some great shots of him then and now. There's with Tower of Power there as well. We sprinkled in some different photos, the Ellis Hall Group, And again, the amount of music that not only he has performed, that he is responsible for, as I mentioned too, working with so many incredible symphonies, opening up for some incredible acts, singing at the funeral of Helen Keller at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York, performing for Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, for Nelson Mandela, the lead voice for the animated California Raisins. And that's just the short list, folks. And he's highly acclaimed, highly revered, and beloved. And he's worked with them all. Stevie Wonder, James Taylor, Natalie Cole, Patti LaBelle, Earth, Wind and Fire, George Benson, Sheila E., Herbie Hancock, you name it. So far to date and counting, over 4,000 soul and gospel and pop songs. Incredible. Blues songs as well. He is something else. There is his website as well, ellishall.com. Loved having him here on the show, and I hope you guys did as well. He really is a national, if not international treasure. He's heading out to France soon. He's very excited about that. And we were excited having him here on the Jim Masters Show. Gang, if you did enjoy this episode, we would love it. As I mentioned earlier, if you can give this episode a like. Yeah, on the YouTube channel, there's a thumbs up icon. Give it a like, click thumbs up, share this on your social media, drop a comment below. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We love that. Thanks for being with us, everybody. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time. Come see us again right here at Lovely Hall, and the Jim Masters Show will be right here waiting for you. Don't forget to love one another, take care of one another, and don't forget to do the very same for yourself. It's important to do that and be good to one another. We love you all. Thanks for being with us. See you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show. Be well and cheers.